Hey guys, welcome back to Mediocre Arts and Crafts. Today I am just sharing with you a clip from one of my previous videos. It is the Jumbo Mixed Media Tag mini album. And this just demonstrates for you how I create the gusset binding in a larger scale. So what I'm doing here is replayed in the video in a minute, but what I basically am demonstrating is how I take a flat piece of paper and fold it and glue it to create a binding that has one hinge to glue each of your pages to. Part of the previous recording that I took this from was already sped up, so some of it is pretty quick, but I think the most important part is the explanation of these larger pieces of paper here that I use just to kind of demonstrate on a larger scale. So hang on tight and I will show you how I created this binding. Next, we want to take the piece of cardstock that is 6 3/4 by 7 inches, put it in our scoreboard, so that is 6 3/4 east to west and 7 inches north to south. We are going to score at every 1/4 inch. So before we worry about gluing, we're just going to take some time and fold and burnish at all of our score lines. Okay, now that we have our 6 3/4 by 7 inch piece of cardstock scored at every 1/4 inch, we are going to go ahead and fold and burnish, and then we're going to create our gusset. Now this is a hinge gusset system, I guess that is. You can find it all over YouTube. I learned it from YouTube. And basically what you're going to do is you are going to have one piece of flat cardstock, and then you're going to glue 2 pieces together to make a point. And I'll take you through that, but what it's going to look like is something like this when you're done. So I have 2 of the scored pieces here that are glued together, and then it goes all the way across like that. So each one of these pieces that is sticking up is really 2 of the score sections that are glued together, and you can watch me do that now. So we score our lines and fold them. We're going to take these 2 pieces, these 2 sections that say glue those together. This remains flat. And then we're going to take the next 2 sections that say glue. We're going to glue those together. And so on. And so once we glue these 2 sections together, you'll have 2 book hinges. And so what we're doing is going to be a little more tedious because the scores are obviously a lot smaller. So take your time. Use your score lines to your advantage, and you should end up with, let's see, you will end up with a hinge that will hold the front cover. So this one isn't glued. This one is just the first score mark. Then you'll have your flat section, and you will, on this, end up with 8 of these little mountain valleys that are hinges, and then 2 end pieces that are sticking up, one for the front cover and one for the back cover, and then we'll be ready to glue in our tags. Okay, now you'll notice that as I was scoring these, I wasn't paying attention to the way they were going to end up. I just needed them to move well so that as I kind of fold them up, they're easy to adhere. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my page. I'm going to start with one score section that goes up. I guess that's up. And then one will be flat, like this. And then these two will be glued together. And then this one will be flat, and these two will be glued together. And you do that all the way across until you have your 8 glued hinges and your 2 that are on the side. Okay, this first section is going to be pointed up, the second section is going to be flat, and the third and fourth section are going to be glued together on the back. So there we have it. We have our front flap for the front page. We have one for the back page. And then we have 8 sections that are glued together that will be our the pages that go throughout the middle of the book. So I'm going to grab my tags and start gluing them in.